the way I see it as a money coach, so a financial advisor and a money coach are very different. So a financial advisor basically works with somebody to build wealth when they already have something to begin with. So you've got money, you want to make more money, you go to a financial advisor, they'll advise you on investments to make so that you can grow the wealth that you already have. Whereas a money coach, I work with you when you don't have any wealth to begin with. So it's at the infancy stages where you're looking at your personal finances and there's no money. You don't have, you're in debt or you're living paycheck to paycheck. You don't have a budget. You're not living, your finances are literally in a mess. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Where do I begin? That's where I come alongside clients on their financial journeys.
Hello. Welcome to Elimj Fashion Lovers ChatShow, a platform where we get to empower one another, where we get to invite professionals and business owners to come and use their skills to empower our community. In today's episode, I'll be speaking to Tolu Frimpong. She is a money coach. She'll be here to talk to us about money management tips. Now that we are in a new year, obviously people out there will be looking for one or two ideas or ways to manage their expenses. So she'll be talking us through about how we can manage our money wisely. So stay tuned to keep on watching. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe to our channel so you can get to see more videos that we release on our platform in order to empower you. So stay tuned to keep on watching. Hello, Tolu.
Hi, Ellie. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Elimj Fashion Lovers ChatShow.
Thanks for having me on. I'm so excited for our conversation.
Well, I'm so excited as well for you to have accepted my invite. I'm quite delighted.
No, I'm excited to be here. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Good. Tolu, I know you are a money coach, but could you tell my audience about how you go? I mean, what's the journey into the money coaching? And tell my audience the full story behind it, please.
Sure. So I'm a money coach. I've been a money coach now for a couple of years, and it's something that I naturally transitioned into after sharing my journey online. So I've been sharing my debt-free journey online for the past couple of years. So 4 years ago now, actually, my husband and I were in over £36,000 worth of debt. And 2 years later, we were able to become debt-free by following many different strategies and steps in order to become debt-free. And so during those 2 years, I learned a lot about personal finance, a lot about budgeting, living below your means, etc. And all these things that I learned, I knew that since I didn't know it, and I've had to learn it from reading books, from listening to podcasts, from watching YouTube videos, I realized that there's so many people that are now in the position that I once was in a lot of debt and not knowing how to get out of that situation. So I thought, let me share my knowledge, share my experience online with them. And that's what I was doing for the past couple of years. So on my blog and on my Instagram page, what I was doing was sharing a lot of the personal finance content that had helped me and the things that I was doing on my financial journey. And off the back of that, people were just asking me questions, sending me DMs, asking me how they could become debt-free, things that they could do. And so the money coaching basically transpired from there organically, because it was like, I realized that there was a need for it. People were asking for my help and I was helping them informally and not being paid for it. But after a while, it comes a time I can't keep helping everybody for free. So I transitioned then into money coaching. So I've been doing that officially now for the past month, and it's been an amazing journey so far. Like I've been able to work with a number of clients one-on-one on their financial journey and just helping them get a budget in place, get a plan for their money in place, and help them to work towards their future financial goals.
Magical. Would you mind if I asked you?
Sure.
Would you mind? How did you get into the £36,000 debt?
Oh, sure. Gosh, okay. The long one short. So the £36,000 worth of debt it didn't start off as £36,000. So initially, we took out a couple of loans when we bought our first house. So basically, a bit of backstory is we bought our first property and we had all the money that we needed for all the property costs, so the surveyor fees, stamp duty, deposit, etc. And we hadn't factored into the equation with refurbishment costs. And that's because when we initially got the property, we didn't realize we were going to have to do any refurbishments to it. But within the space of a year, so from us getting the offer accepted to us getting the house was a year, because there was loads of drama with the people selling the house. But eventually, when we got the keys, the house was in a mess. There was just so much work that needed to be done. So we took out a loan in order to refurbish it. We had a plan in which that a plan that we thought at the time was going to work in terms of how we were going to pay back that loan. We were going to get lodgers who were then going to give us the money basically to pay off the loan. And that was our plan. So when we took on that debt, we had a plan for how it was going to be paid off. But then once we took out that first loan, that wasn't enough to do all the work that we needed on the property. Because if you know anything about when you get a property, you do renovation works, all these other things start to come out that need to be done as well. So the cost spiraled out of control in that area. But then additionally to that, I think once we had basically opened that floodgate in terms of taking out the loans, it was like, okay, now we can start using credit cards. And then we started using the credit card. We went on holiday, we were traveling. We just were spending money that we didn't have. And we didn't realize how much debt we were in at that time. At the time, if you had asked me, I would have said probably about 22,000. So when we actually did the maths and we wrote it all out and realized how much debt we had, that's when we realized it was £36,000.
Okay. So if we look at it here, it's a good debt. However, you need to, pay it off. So it's not like it's a bad debt. Good. Okay. I have a question for you here. What do you mean by the word money coach? Because I know that's what you specialize on. Could you tell me more about it, please?
Yes, sure. So the way I see it as a money coach, so a financial advisor and a money coach are very different. So a financial advisor basically works with somebody to build wealth when they already have something to begin with. So you've got money, you want to make more money, you go to a financial advisor, they'll advise you on investments to make so that you can grow the wealth that you already have. Whereas a money coach, I work with you when you don't have any wealth to begin with. So it's at the infancy stages where you're looking at your personal finances and there's no money. You're in debt, or you're living paycheck to paycheck. You don't have a budget. You're not your finances are literally in a mess. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Where do I begin? That's where I come alongside clients on their financial journey. So helping them from the initial stage of where you are now, where you want to get to, and how you can get there. I basically walk you along that journey. So I guess in the same way, when you want to get physically fit, you go to a personal trainer and they help you on that journey. I see myself as a fitness trainer for your finances. So if you want to get financially fit, then you see a money coach and I help you on your journey so that you can reach your financial goals.
Wow, well done. Do you know, I find this very, very fascinating, because as a money coach, you will, there are lots of skills behind that, because you get to help, say anybody, you can get to help anybody, even stay-home moms or new moms, because sometimes, as a new mom, you have this fear of the unknown. How do I look after my children? Expenses, baby nappies and stuff like that. Exactly. So this is where you come in. You can always say, look, actually there are ways around things, how you can make things work for you. So rather than having to be beating around the bush, you cut the journey a little bit short.
Exactly. Because I think conversations about money are not something we have regularly. And so I know for a lot of my clients, even when we had our first consultation, they're like, oh my gosh, this is the first time I've ever spoken to somebody so openly about my finances. And that's the thing. A lot of the time we don't have these conversations about money, and because we don't know what we don't know. And if we don't speak to somebody else about it, it's like we're just kind of stuck in our own heads and we don't know how to do things better or how we can change our current situation. We don't realize that there is hope, there is a way out of the situation in which we're currently in. And I guess that's what I do as a coach. It's like show you that, no, don't worry, you may be in a mess right now, but you don't need to stay in that mess. Like, we can get through this kind of thing. And I just help them kind of handhold them on their journey to debt freedom, or just getting a budget in place or plan in place. Whatever their situation is, I come alongside them and help them on their journey.
Okay, I have another question for you.
Sure.
So it is, how can one get in control of their finances?
Sure, I think getting in control of finances, that's actually a loaded question, believe it or not, because I think with a lot of us, it's like we don't have a plan. I think one thing to do, or one thing that will really help get in control of your finances, is have a plan and have a goal and a focus in which you're working towards. Because I think when you don't have a plan and you don't have a goal, you don't know where you're going, it's easy for you to just spend money on a whim, because it's like, okay, this money's here, let me spend it. But when you know that, okay, no, me spending this money now is going to stop me from getting to this goal, or this money is going to take away from me achieving this that I want to achieve in my finances, then it'll be a lot easier to start breaking those habits. But I think when there is no plan, when there is no goal, when you're not working towards anything, then you're just going to keep spending money. And I think that's definitely was my case. for many years. It's like when we were saving up for the house, that was the best time when we were in control of our finances, because it's like we have a goal, we're saving for this deposit. So it was easy for us to say no to things. But I think when there is no kind of goal or no kind of plan, no kind of focus, you're not trying to get anywhere, then yeah, you're just going to keep spending money on a whim. And I think just in terms of practicalities, there's also many practical things that you can do as well in terms of your money habits. So if you know you're a person that when you're on Instagram, you see people, you see what they're wearing, you think, oh, I want that, I want this, then maybe it's time to unfollow certain people, mute people, block people. I know both of us are on social media, so we don't want people to be unfollowing and muting us. But at the same time, you need to know what your triggers are, you need to know what your vices are, you need to know what is making you spend money in the way you spend it. So if you know that, yeah, when you're seeing all these people with things, or you're seeing people going out, you're seeing people living their best life, and you get FOMO, you get the fear of missing out, you're thinking, oh, I want to do that too. And then spend money that you don't need to be spending. If those are your triggers, then maybe not be on Instagram every single day, maybe just take breaks from it on a regular basis. If you know that those emails that you keep getting from ASOS are making you want to click and buy all the time, then unsubscribe from the ASOS mailing list. Like, you don't need to be getting the emails all the time, because you know every time you see that, you're triggered. When you see that 20% off, you're thinking, oh, let me quickly buy. And you buy on impulse without thinking, oh my gosh, me buying this is taken away from me doing whatever else I need to do with that money. And I think having a budget as well and a plan in place also will help you with those spending habits, because I think a lot of times we don't have an actual budget for our money. So it's like, yeah, I know how much my expenses are, I know how much my bills are, and then any other money left is mine to do whatever kind of thing. But I think if we put a kind of a cap on certain spending patterns, so like if we say, for example, I'm going to spend £200 a month on fun, so that £200 is my money to do what I like with every single month, then because you've given yourself a little bit of an allowance or giving yourself that freedom to spend without feeling guilt, then it will help you to not overspend and be spending money unnecessarily, because you know, okay, at least I have this fun money. And then when that fun money's done, it's done. You need to just not spend any more money. So yeah, I hope that answered the question.
No, that does answer the question, because how it does answer the question is, you mentioned we should know ourselves. So the best person that does know one is yourself, because you would know what are your habits, what triggers your spending habit, like you mentioned. So if you can identify those things on time, then that helps you to kind of like, keep yourself under control exactly. That habit, which is exactly what you've just mentioned. So like unsubscribing from certain things that triggers it, or maybe wanting to copy some people, on social media or anywhere. Yeah. Well done. Thank you very much. So, I have another one here. 2021, how can one get their budget under control? Any tips in terms of that?
Sure. I think with budgets, I think the first thing is to get a budget in place, because I think a lot of people say, like, for example, if I ask them if you have a budget, like, yeah, I budget in my head. It's like, no, you can't budget in your head. You actually need to have your budget documented somewhere. So whether it's pen and paper, like that works, good old fashioned pen and paper, write your expenses, write your income, write how much your expenses are, and see what your expenses look like against the income in which you have going in. Like, it sounds so basic and elementary, but you'd be surprised how many of us don't do that and don't have that in place. And I think going back to basics, having a plan for your money, looking at, okay, these are the goals in which I want to achieve for 2021. Okay, how can I manage my money for the next year in order to be able to achieve those financial goals? So I think in terms of having a budget, it's creating a budget, whether it's on Excel, so that's what I currently use. I use my Excel spreadsheet. I also have a printable planner, which people can use. But then equally, there's apps like Emma Finance, which apparently is really good. I've checked out, but I don't use it personally. But I know many people that do use Emma Finance, and they say it's really good, a really good budgeting app. YNAB is another good budgeting app as well. You Need a Budget by Dave Ramsey. That's another budgeting app. It's in US dollars, but it's still like you just use it as if it was pounds, if that makes sense. So it still works very well. So that's another app that works. But I think the main thing is, getting a budget and getting a plan. Setting yourself a few financial goals for the new year. So if you're saying this time next year, this is where I want to be. Okay, that's where you want to be. How are you going to get there? Now you need to work backwards. You need to get a plan in place for the 12 months that are coming up in the new year and break it down. So if the goal is, let's say, for example, I want to save £5,000 by the end of the year. I'm not great at maths, but whatever that cash amount is, you're going to need to divide that by 12, and that's the amount that you want to be saving every single month. So then once you've done your budget, you've looked at your income and expenses, and when I say expenses, first of all, start with your four walls. So your four walls are your shelter, food, transport, and utilities. Once you've budgeted for that, then you can move on to things that are your wants. So even things like subscriptions and going out to eat, all those kind of things, those are not actual needs, those are wants. So depending on how much you have left once you've covered your main expenses, then look at what you want to, how you want to divide that remaining money between the categories. And what the budgeting method that I like to use and I recommend to my clients is called the zero-based budgeting method. So that budgeting method is basically where, like I was saying before, you write down your income and you write down your expenses. But once you've written down all your expenses, you want to write them down until you spend all of that money in your income. When I say spent, sorry, I should say allocated. So every single penny and pound of that income needs to be allocated an assignment to do before you spend that money. So on payday, so on the 1st of January, for example, if that's payday, you're going to want to make a plan for all of that money allocated to all the different budget categories until you get to zero. So if that saving goal, like I was saying, £5,000 for the year, then you want to see how much of your income you have left in order to put towards that goal. And let's say, for example, you need to put £300 a month and you're only making you only have £200 left once you've done your budget. Then now you need to be thinking, okay, I need another £100. How am I going to get that £100? So that's when you need to start thinking creatively of ways that you can either reduce your expenses or make income, increase your income. So yeah, that's what I would say in terms of budgeting for 2021. So look, there's a lot to do, but at the end of the day, it needs to be done, like in order for things to change in the new year. Because if you carry on doing things the way you've been doing them up until now, this time next year, things are not going to look any different. If you want them to be different, that is, like if you want change, then you're going to need to take the steps in order to see that change. So if a budget isn't something you've ever sat down and done, definitely consider doing it for the new year.
Okay, good. You just mentioned something over there. You said increasing your income. So how, say for instance, you have a couple of friends or people from from somewhere who lacks the, ability to think about how to increase their income, mostly when, how things are in the economy at the moment currently. So how would you say to somebody in a layman's language to say, look, these are the ways you can increase your income? What would you say to them?
Sure. I'll say that there's, especially in the day and age that we're in now, in the internet age, there's so many opportunities to make money that you wouldn't even realize were there. But the first thing is to open your mind to those opportunities and open your mind to the possibilities. Because I think a lot of the time you just think, oh, I work my 9 to 5, I come home and then that's it. I just, I need my downtime, my rest time. And to be fair, we do need our downtime and our rest time. So I'm not just saying work until, do you know what I mean, until you die. But at the same time, it's like, okay, you work 9 to 5, you get home at 6, 7. There's still at least an hour or two in the evening in which you can start working on something. So add value to yourself, see ways in which you can develop yourself. So even if it's not in January, you're able to make that extra £100. But by April, if you've been working consistently, putting an hour in every single day, working on that new skill. So whether it's creating content online, social media posts, whether it's learning how to edit. I mean, I have a YouTube channel. I started this a year ago. When I uploaded my first video, I never even edited it. I literally recorded it on my camera and uploaded it because I had no clue how to edit. But since then, I've learned how to edit. It's a skill that I've picked up. Yes, I'm not the best, but I've definitely learned a lot over this last year with my editing skills. And now I'm monetizing on YouTube. So now that's an additional stream of income. A year ago, if you had told me that I would be able to do that, I would have said no way. But it's like opening your mind to the possibilities. I think simple things as well that you can get started with is selling stuff. Like, it's so underrated, selling things that you have. But that is how I was able to make so much money to put towards paying off our debt. And even this year as well, I've been able to sell so many things on Facebook Marketplace and on Spock. So kids' toys, things that they're old clothing, things that they don't use anymore, gifts that I've received that I've never used. So I've put them on Facebook Marketplace and I've been able to sell them. So I think there's so many survey sites as well. That's another good one. I know it gets a bad rap, but I've been able, this past month alone, just made £25 from doing a couple of surveys online. Not a couple, a few more than that. But I've done a few, and these are things that I've done while doing things in the house. I might be watching TV and I'm doing a survey site, doing a few surveys while I'm watching TV. And I've been able to make a bit of extra income that way. So I think just opening your mind to the opportunities out there. There's so many potential opportunities to make money online. There's some people that have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 streams of income. They don't have 2 heads. They have 1 head just like us. So it's like, if they're able to do it, then there's no reason why I can't do it. There's no reason why you can't do it. But I think the first thing starts in your mind. I think change your mind and having that self-belief that, no, actually, I can do it. Actually, there are opportunities out there. Actually, I'm going to go for it. And then you'll be surprised at the doors that open as well for you when you have that mindset shift. Because I think a lot of the times we put the limits on ourselves. But I think when we take those limits off ourselves, the opportunities are endless. So definitely, you can make other streams of income. Even in this year that we've had the pandemic, yes, I know it's been a rough year for so many people. I haven't had the fact this year either. But then equally, there have been people that have been able to thrive, and there have been people that found other ways to make money. So don't let the pandemic stop you. Yes, I know it's bad, it's been hard, but just think of ways in which you can make extra streams of income, and you'll be surprised at the things that open. Even if you don't have any ideas to begin with, start researching, start looking online, Google it, YouTube it, other ways to make money online, and you'll be surprised at how many opportunities are out there if you're willing to do the work. Yes, you may not know how to do these things yet, but like I said before, you can learn. Like, we can learn, and that's one of the greatest gifts that we have, is that we have the ability to learn. So why not learn? If you don't know now, you can learn it, and you can do it, and you can make that money. So yeah, I think there's definitely opportunities to make extra streams of income.
Wow, thank you very much. This is awesome. So let's see. Okay, say for instance, you mentioned you earned an extra £25 from a survey platform. So say for instance, someone out there has got that £25 or also earned like that £25. Is there any savings account you can recommend for them to say, look, this is the best savings account for you, or maybe for your younger ones, that can help to, make your money grow?
Okay, cool. So I have to really tread carefully here, because I'm a money coach and not a financial advisor. So I can't advise on any specific platforms to use. However, generally speaking, and from my experience, what I do, so platforms that I like. So Vanguard is a great investing platform, which I've been using recently. Trading 212 is also good for stocks and shares. So for individual stocks in individual organizations, and Trading 212, that's one that I've recently started using as well. So that's really good. And in terms of savings accounts, there's so many, well, actually at the moment, savings accounts, the savings are not fantastic. So what you want to do, what I would do, is consider putting my money, once I've got my emergency fund, so let's do things in order. So I think before investing and before all the rest of it, make sure that you have some kind of emergency fund saved. So whether it's a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, whatever you feel comfortable with first, kind of have that emergency fund saved, so that, and when I say saved, have it saved in a savings account which you can access straight away should an emergency arise. But once you have your emergency fund in place, then you want to move on to investing. And yeah, websites like Vanguard, Free Trade, Trading 212. There's so many out there. It's just a case of what appetite you have for risk, and how much you have available to invest, and what your risk appetite is. Because some investments obviously a lot more risky, some are less risky. So it kind of depends on where you are. But in terms of websites are really good for searching for investment accounts. When I say ISA, so individual savings account for children and for adults, I'll say websites like Money Saving Expert, Go Compare, Switch. They're really good for comparing the market and seeing what options out there. Just read through basically and choose the account that's best for you and your needs, kind of thing. Because they show you what the best deals are.
Good. Okay, if I can quickly recap something from there. Did you say Trading 212?
Yeah.
Okay, and you said is it Vanguard?
Vanguard, yeah. Vanguard is an investment platform, so you can invest in like index funds, which is where you invest in loads and loads of different companies. So basically your risk is not as bad because it's diversified across a mix of organization. Whereas websites like Free Trade and Trading 212, you're literally buying stock in an individual company, and that can be risky, obviously, depending on how that company is performing as the year goes on, kind of thing. So it kind of depends on how much risk you're willing to take, and also your level of experience. Because for me, I'm a novice investor. Like, I've just literally finished paying off how much there, and I'm just now starting my investing journey. And I wish I knew the stuff I knew now 5-10 years ago, because I would have been investing like straight off the back when I started working. Because investing, that's the secret of the rich that they didn't tell us about. Because the compound effect is something that when I learned it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't know that this was a thing. Your money could make money, and that money makes more money. And yeah, the compound effect is mad. And that's the benefits of investing.
Well done. Wow, thank you very much. That's really, really good. So in terms of a goal tracker, have you got something to recommend for people to track their goals at all?
Okay, so goal trackers, I actually do have a few habit trackers and goal trackers. So in my 2021 budget planner, so I recently launched that a few months ago now. It's 2021 budget planner, it's a printable. And in that budget planner, it has a page where you can set your goals for the year. So you can set your financial goals. So you can have your big overarching goal, and you then break that goal down into monthly goals. And then you can also then track how well you performed against those goals in which you set yourself. So that's the link I can definitely provide for you to give to your audience. That would be really good to use. And it's also, again, apps that you can use that are good for tracking your goals as well. Also on Etsy, I love Etsy because there's, again, loads and loads of different trackers out there. So if you don't fancy my one, there's many other options out there too for trackers that you can use. But I think tracking goals is definitely underrated, and it definitely has huge implications, and it definitely has great benefits when you do track your goals, because it's good to see where you started, see where you're trying to get to, and seeing how well you're performing and how well you're progressing towards reaching that goal. So I think, yeah, trackers are really good. And yeah, I have one, my budget planner, like I said, and I also have habit trackers as well. Again, I think for me especially, I love habit trackers because it's good to kind of see how well I'm doing with that habit. So for example, if I just have a habit of wanting to drink 2 liters of water a day, I have the tracker to see, okay, how over the month, because I track it on a daily basis, I can see in a snapshot how I've done over those 30 days. And it's just a good visual representation of the goals and a visual reminder of the goals in which you've set yourself and you're trying to achieve.
Beautiful. Well, before I let you go,
sure.
Can I ask you, have you got any special book which you can recommend for us here? Say like a money saving book, or either book relating to money saving book.
Oh my gosh, there's actually so many that I could recommend. Okay, so one I would recommend, since we're both in the UK, let me recommend a UK author. So The Meaningful Money Handbook is by an author named Pete Matthew. So he's based in the UK, he's a financial advisor, and in his Meaningful Money Handbook, he just breaks down all the financial jargon you can think of, from budgeting to saving to paying off debt, investing, getting a will, life insurance. Like, he covers all the spectrum when it comes to personal finances, and it's in a very simple, easy to digest way. So when you think of things like a will, it just becomes quite boring to you, like how do you even begin? But he just tells you everything you need to know and everything you need to do in order to tackle that area of your personal finances. So I think The Meaningful Money Handbook is a fantastic starting point. Another amazing book, which I only read this year, but it was such a I won't say life-changing, let me not over exaggerate, but it was an impactful book. It was a really good book, and it's called Your Money or Your Life. So Your Money or Your Life, and it's by an author named Vicky Robin, and it's just a great book that helps you address your money scripts. And when I say money scripts, that's your money mindset, your underlying beliefs around money, like why you spend money the way you spend money, you view money in the way you view it. So it's like addressing those underlying financial beliefs. And she talks about basically the trade-off between your money and your life. So a lot of the times we pursue wealth, but then it might be at the detriment to our life. And at the end of the day, we say our life is more important, but then our spending habits and our spending behaviors tell a different story. So in that book, it just really makes you, it makes you see yourself, and you're like, okay, I say that my life is more important, but then really the way I'm spending money, the way I view money, the way I use money is saying something totally different. So Your Money or Your Life, I tell everybody about that book, because when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, it was like a light bulb moment when I read that book. So yeah, those are two that I'll definitely say are great to start with. Oh, a third book, let me just give you, actually, 2 more books. So I'll start with 2 more quickly. Another one to write down, what's it called? The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. So that was the book that I read that actually started my financial freedom journey. So that was the book that started me and my husband on our debt-free journey. So I can't not mention that book, because if I didn't read that book, I'll probably still be in a lot of debt. But that book, yeah, it set us on the right course. So Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. And then finally, The Richest Man in Babylon. Yeah, that's another really good book. So,
I know that one.
Yeah, so those are 4 books that I'll definitely say to get started with. They'll be really good ones to get started with.
Okay, good. So can I say, if people want to find out more about you, or if people want to reach out to you, have you got a website you can tell our audience about, and what's the social media handle, please?
Sure. Yeah, you guys can find me on my blog. So I have a blog, tolufrimpong.com. I'm also on YouTube, so if you just search Tolu Frimpong, I'll come up. And on Instagram, I'm Tolu Frimpong as well. So it's my name basically across all the different platforms. So my blog, YouTube, Instagram. I'm also on Twitter as well, but I don't use that as often. But it's Tolu Frimpong on there as well. So yeah, those are the places in which you can find me.
Wow, thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much, Tolu, for participating on our Early Fashion Lovers chat show. Thank you so much for, coming here to share your lovely thoughts, with our community. So you've empowered us in a magical way, and we are so thankful of that.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Ellie. It's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed myself. So no, it's been good.
Thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope you have enjoyed this session. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave a thumbs up, and let us know what parts resonate with you in this video by leaving a comment below. And subscribe to our channel so you can get to see more content that we produce on this very platform. Feel free to also share the video with friends and family. And hope to see you next time.